Welcome back, you Inglorious Bastards and Magnificent, for a second time today,
It
because my dumb
has
ass forgot to put on
begun.
my, the sound wasn't working.
Winning.
It
No.
wasn't hooked in, the sound wasn't working, it wasn't set up right. I mean, I did take everything apart and put it all back together. It may look kind of the same, but everything's, like, I'm, like, super douched my room like they do with the, like, Sergeant Major comes and he does the to see if it's like clean.
That's how winning is done.
It had to be done. Every once in a while, you had to be a man. I'm on that kick, that order of man kick, where I'm like, I got the 13-week battle planner, 12-week battle planner, and I'm hitting it. I'm hitting it like hit hard every day. I wake up at 4, exercise, walk the dog, eat real food that I cook myself. I clean. I I write my book. I do this podcast. I get more. I've gotten more done in the last week than I have in the last 2 months, and it makes me feel fucking awesome.
Winning.
But anyway, we're going to talk about a couple of things today. We're going to talk about, let's get my notes going. We're going to talk about Supreme Court ruling in favor of guns. We're going to talk about Steven Crowder suing YouTube on behalf of banning views of half the country. So it's not just for himself. I think he's starting a class action lawsuit. Former Green Beret Tim Kennedy thinks the school system's fucked up, and I agree with him. So he's going to open a private school to try and unfuck that mess. And the Navy admits that the recent UFO footage of them around UFOs is real. Like, it is absolutely fucking real. Um, but before we get into the actual podcast, I'm gonna take some time to ask you guys to please like, share, subscribe, leave a review, remind, whatever you can help. Like, it really helps if you go leave a review. Like, if you pause this right now, go to Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, leave a review for the podcast, and then come back and finish watching this.
That's how winning is
It'll
done.
help immensely. It helps boost us up in that algorithm and helps us beat that censorship machine. You can also, the best way to help is to go directly to our website, www.thatsonpoint.squarespace.com, and join the email list, become a member, and or buy the merch from the merch store, because then it's directly to us and you're supporting us directly. And that's just the best way to support us, is directly supporting us. It's how most people are going to survive. Tim Pool's doing it. Stephen Crowder has Mug Club. I mean, it's the only way you can combat this censorship machine, where some guy could just put the gavel hammer down, smash, and take away your whole fucking life.
Yeah.
With the merch store going, we get a new shirt up, the Like a Government shirt, and every month we're gonna give one away to a random subscriber. So they're gonna do that at the end of this month. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna reach out, get your size, your options, and things like that, so we can send it out to you and get going. If you can't wait, you can just go to the merch store. Link to that in the description below. And that's how we do it. It's Teespring. That's on point for others listening. And you can look us up, and you can get the merch store there. And you can actually look at what the shirt looks like, because if you're listening, you can't see it. But that's it. But let's get into this actual story of the day, where we got the New Hampshire Public Radio. Supreme Court restricts police's authority to enter a home without a warrant. It's about fucking time you enforce the Constitution again. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled unanimously Monday against warrantless searches by police and seizures in the home in a case brought by a man whose gun office confiscated a domestic dispute. Now, this is awesome, because the Supreme Court just, the gun control advocates, that's a huge win for gun control, for gun rights. It's unanimous. The very Judge Carr, yeah. So the very core of Fourth Amendment's guarantee is the right to a person to retreat in his or her home. There be free and unreasonable governmental intrusion. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote for the court. Yeah, Justice Thomas, getting it done. I like this dude. He's been like sprouting things about freedom and like all this nonsense for like the election and everything this entire time. The case involved a heating argument between a long married couple, Edward Kim Caniglia, and he brought out a gun and told her to shoot him out of his misery. Then after he left the house in a huff, she hid the gun and spent the night at the motel. The next morning, unable to reach her husband, she asked the police to escort her home because she was afraid that he might have harmed himself, because he fucking sarcastically told her to fucking end his misery in an argument. So the police, that's just retarded woman. You're a fucking retarded. The police found the husband on the front porch and sent him to psychological evaluation. If you find a man just chilling on his front porch, you don't just send him to get psychological evaluation. You actually talk to him. You investigate him. You see if he actually needs to be evaluated. Then you send him to get evaluated. Later that day, doctors concluded he was not a threat to himself or others and released him immediately. Yes, they released him because he was not a fucking threat. He didn't even have to go there. That was a waste of motherfucking money.
Winning.
In the meantime, police have confiscated his guns and ammunition. So he sued allegedly. What? Like, why'd you take his gun and his ammunition? He hasn't been determined a threat yet.
Winning. No. You suck.
Right? That's fucking bullshit. That civil forfeiture property is fucking garbage. This is why people are hating on the police. Like, I know I'm normally conservative, but when it comes to police, I'm fucking with the left. I'd rather fucking have my gun, and I'd rather Old West style the shit on the streets than have my constitutional rights violated by the Nazi enforcement force.
That's how winning is done.
The lower courts ruled that the police could enter the home and under the so-called the community caretaker exception to the Constitution's warrant requirement, and there is no exception to the Constitution's warrant requirement. If you want to make changes to the Constitution, you have to go through the constitutional process and amend that motherfucker. That's how it works. But Thomas, writing in a unanimous court, noted that the recognition that police officers perform many civil tasks in modern society was just that, a recognition that the tasks exist and not an open-ended license to perform them anywhere. What is reasonable for vehicles is different from what is reasonable for homes, he wrote. And I don't even fucking agree with that. I mean, it's the tactics are slightly different, but your vehicle is your property. It should be the same way. Warrant, 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 warrant. I have a right to be secure in my purses, places, papers, and things.
That's how winning is done.
I have a right to be secure in my persons, papers, like, oh my God, places and things. Like, I have a motherfucking right to those things. A fucking God-given inherent right that is not granted to me by the motherfucking government, state, local, or otherwise. I am fucking born with that motherfucker.
That's how winning is done.
And I am the only one that says whether or not you can fucking infringe that. And that's the Constitution takes your ability away. It tells you what you can infringe upon. So if you want fucking changes to that, you're gonna go to do it the fucking right way. I don't care how fucking long it takes. Because we're trying to get term limits, and we have 18 of 36 states, 39 states, and we've been going ham on it, and it's been going on for like a decade or whatnot, and we haven't gotten there yet. I don't care how fucking long it takes. There's a right and a wrong way to do things. Why have a goddamn process if you're just gonna fucking avoid it? I'm just fucking saying. Moving right along, Steven Crowder, the host of Louderwit Crowder, Mug Club, leader of Mug Club and such, is getting like they're attacking him on YouTube. Like they've been striking his channels for violations that are not real violations and such, as they've been doing to our fucking channel too with the vaccine. But I'm not even going to get into detail with that. There's other videos on that. You can listen to that. But suffices to say, we were talking about things that the Pentagon talked about. They said it was misinformation. It came from the fucking Pentagon. We weren't saying that this was real. We were saying the Pentagon was fucking saying this. This is what HIPAA says. We're not saying fucking... It's just insane. But they've been doing the same thing to fucking Crowder, and they're waiting one more strike, and when he starts live streaming again, and they're gonna boot him off the platform, and once he's gone, they're gonna come for the rest of us. So now he's enlisted the help of his half Asian lawyer Bill Richmond, and they're going nuclear on fucking YouTube. Winning. And they're gonna sue. Let's get into this fucking article right here. Boom. This is Daily Wire. This is big one for Steven Crowder. He sues for banning views on half of the country. Conservative comedian Steven Crowder is suing YouTube over its content moderation practices and policies, with Crowder says are misapplied to silence conservatives, and he's absolutely fucking correct. There are fucking pedophiles on fucking YouTube. This horrible YouTube that goes fucking unseen. But God forbid, I question the goddamn election, or I don't want to take experimental medicine until I know the long-term effects.
Winning. No. You suck.
It's insane. Crowder announced the lawsuit on his show Louder at Crowder on Monday. Crowder and his attorney Bill Richmond said that since the start of the year, YouTube has again demonetized Louder at Crowder videos and issued 2 hard strikes against the account, both of which resulted in temporary suspensions. As of last Thursday, May 14th, my lawyer Bill Richmond and I have filed a notice of, this is his direct quote, a notice of a lawsuit against YouTube and are seeking an injunction to prevent them from stopping from currently deplatforming us. Crowder said, we're officially sent a notice of a lawsuit, very different level. This is the big one, boys and girls. Yes, this is no personal. This is a class action now.
That's how
Crowder's
winning is
account was
done.
locked, demonetized, and given a strike warning in March for allegedly spreading misinformation about the 2020 election, where he actually didn't do that. He went to addresses that said that they were addresses for people that voted and showed that they were like vacant lots. And that's not fucking misinformation when he's showing you the fucking reality of things. Crowder denied even making any false claims on Monday's show and noted that the YouTube's justification lacked a specific charge against Crowder said the second hard strike against his channel was similarly vague, leaving the host and his attorney guessing at what could have triggered YouTube's actions. The first strike came over an anniversary video of 15 days to slow the spread. YouTube claimed that Crowder violated its policy against spreading COVID misinformation. The second hard strike came over Crowder's commentary on a police shooting in Columbus, Ohio in April. An officer shot and killed black teen Ma'Khia Bryant to stop her from stabbing another girl.
Winning? No.
YouTube accused Crowder of revealing or mocking Bryant's death. Crowder denied mocking Bryant Monday. Richmond noted that even Crowder violated the policy. Louder with Crowder is a comedy show and as such is exempt under YouTube's policy. So that is fucking targeted discrimination with the policy. Like YouTube, these tech companies are out of their fucking control. They need to be fucking declared public commons and they need to be fucking regulated as utilities.
You suck!
I'd rather pay $10 a month for YouTube and not have them be able to fuck me in the ass. This really isn't just about we can find ways we can broadcast to you, Crowder said about his lawsuit, but this is the world's most powerful company. Arguably, when you look at YouTube, Google, Alphabet, and they make sure that they ghost you where people cannot find not us, but the point of view. In other words, in the same point in time when we're talking significantly about the Columbus issue, you can go to Stephen Colbert, you can go to CNN. They're all uploading at the same time with information that we know to be incorrect, Crowder continued. To not allow half the country, half the world ever to correct those mistruths under such misguided and frankly not outlined policy. The last thing I want to be doing is doing a lawsuit with Google and YouTube for crying out loud. They could squash my nuts into oblivion. Crowder.
Winning.
But this is how winning is done. You fucking get out there and you get it fucking done. Crowder leading the way. Richmond added what YouTube is saying is that these ideas are so dangerous that we can't address them or rebut them. We can't criticize them. We just have to extinguish the opinions entirely. We have to eradicate these opinions from the planet because we can't deal with them. But the reality, Richmond continued, this is a comedy show that takes on important issues. Commentary, politics, issues that are facing everyone in every part of the nation and the world, and we have to be able to talk about them. YouTube did not immediately respond to the Daily Wire's request for comment. Crowder's lawsuit against YouTube is the second big tech company he has launched a legal battle with this year. In February, the conservative comedian announced that he was suing Facebook for censoring his content without justification, among other issues. A Daily Wire reported fucking Crowder getting it fucking done.
Winning.
Being like fucking Rambo whipping this.
That's how winning is done.
We're going after Facebook based on its own words and its own promises, Richmond explained. Facebook, he said, claimed that they were no longer suppressing certain speech, however, continued to do so. As an example of what he said, speech suppression, Crowder pointed his erection live stream that was apparently cut off. The stream, as noted by Daily Wire, amassing a stunning 8.1 million views, the host said. He was never given a reason why the coverage was curtailed. They remain the biggest stream they have ever existed from the biggest platform that ever existed with no reason, he said. The Daily Wire is one of America's fastest growing conservative media companies. And yeah, that's just Daily Wire talking about its own self. I like them. Ben Shapiro is awesome. You should get into there. But Steven Crowder is really leading the way, paving the way for this free speech, because if it's upheld and the courts uphold it and they allow them to, because the lower courts are probably going to uphold it depending on where the lawsuit is, and he's going to have to take it up to the Supreme Court, and if the Supreme Court doesn't hear the case or doesn't make a determination, where we go from here is a dark path, because people are they're just going to start kicking people off one by 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 one.
Yeah, no.
And they shouldn't. their legal protections need to be removed if they can do that, and because that you're either a platform or you're a publisher. If you want to be a publisher, that's fine, but you got to pay for that. You can't have your legal exceptions. You're liable for everything posted, every video posted, and I don't fucking care if you think that you can't survive for that. You should have fucking thought about that